In the last episode, we talked about self harm as a symptom or an escalation to a larger issue. But is procrastination one of those things as well? Is it myopic to dismiss procrastination? In this episode, we're going to talk about procrastination and what causes it. Is it a good thing? Is it truly bad? Can it propel you forward? Amongst many other things. So let's jump right into it.
We procrastinate because we have our own reasons, and sometimes it's really hard to accept that we needed it. And it's the great question that you brought up, if it's really necessary to procrastinate things, and if there's anything else that we prioritize at a certain point of time. I have to admit to you that I procrastinate a lot. Since, hey, why do you smile? Since
It's normal. I think everyone
yeah,
procrastinates.
so since the past couple of months, I motivated myself to create businesses and try to seek new opportunities all the times. I fell into this space that I feel that I can do so many things, but then I have so much task that I am not able to fit them in my daily plan. I can finish them weekly time, but not like 24 hours as I listed in my schedules. So sometimes I procrastinate and then I'll do the other things maybe because there's a jobs that the client really waiting for the confirmation, and then I see that it would be more beneficial to what I'm doing, and then there are the other things. 3 months time already, I haven't recorded any songs, like at all. So that's like my passion. But why am I procrastinate that though? So this month, I told my friend and my partner that, hey, I would do at least one song, but I don't see when I'm gonna be able to do that. What do you think? Why am I procrastinating this? And then I do all the other jobs.
I think our natural state of being is really one that requires some time to let loose and relax. And that's not a society that we grow up in. That's not what society tells us to do. We grow up going to school, we're constantly busy. When you're not at school, you're in extracurricular activities. It's prized to be busy, and
Mm-hmm.
busy is not always good. Though we feel that it's important to be doing things that we're passionate about. Yes, that is absolutely important because it helps you have a sense of accomplishment. It adds to your worth and how you feel about yourself. But at the same time, it's important to give yourself some space to chill out. And I don't think we really build in time to do that. Does chilling out really mean staying up watching cat videos until 3 a.m. at night? No, not necessarily, right? But it's really about doing nothing and being okay with doing nothing. Because if you're not building in the time, you're going to burn out and do it anyways. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? It's regardless of whether or not you want to procrastinate, I think it's natural to, because I have yet to meet someone that's like, you know what? I don't procrastinate at all. And
Mm.
if someone says that they don't, maybe they haven't necessarily looked at all aspects of their life. Because are you procrastinating on a certain aspect of your self growth? Maybe you are holding back on the steps that are necessary to become that 1% better. And
Mm.
so procrastination is not a single level, it's multi level. And then on top of that, you have to be okay with doing nothing for a period of time because I think that can actually really drive you forward because then you've taken the time to chill out and
Mm.
you're ready to go back in with a fresh eye, with a fresh perspective, ready to completely use your full capabilities as opposed to being like, oh, like I've been working at this for 3 weeks straight, 10 weeks straight. I'm not seeing the results I want. It's hard to maintain that. But this beckons the question, is there a difference between procrastination and consistency? Because procrastination, we talk about delaying things, but does it have to be separate from staying consistent? for example, this podcast, we had a 2-week drop
Mm,
off where we didn't post out videos, and that's because you and I both had different things going on. We have several ventures that we work on, and in that time frame, we just had a few things happen where we weren't able to put out those episodes. But consistency is definitely something that we want to have.
mm-hmm,
But did we procrastinate it? Or was there something else that happened that prevented us from putting out the podcasts?
mm.
But we have done our best to be consistent and we're back at it again, even though we still have things going on.
Yeah. So let me share on my side because there was some feeling that was going on because we were having the schedules and we tried to follow up in the schedule, right? And the first thing that popped up in my head was like, oh, shoot. We're supposed to post the video on Wednesday because our audiences are waiting. But then the first postpone, it was because of my health issue. And then after that, both of us were traveling. At first, I was so stressed about it. And then after a while, I was like, maybe it's okay. Because we really need it. We are not the kind of person who doing only one thing. And we're supposed to have fun doing it. So then when I talk to myself that way, then I just like wait, like let's see, whenever we see each other, we will try to maximize our times as much as we can and not to stress over it. Because even though if you continue with consistency, but you're so not happy, you're unhappy about what you are doing, what's really the good out? Will there be a good outcome? I don't think so. Because you're so stressed, like inner stress, and then what you bring out might not be the best because you are under the stress. So that's mean procrastination is not bad at all. It's good.
I think procrastination to a certain degree can be bad for sure
Mm-hmm.
because you can't allow it to be an out
Mm,
where you're justifying it like, okay, it's fine if I didn't do it this time because XYZ, it's good, it'll propel me forward. But that's not always the case. So I
yeah.
think that it can be bad sometimes, but you have to pick and choose its moments. If you have something really severe that's going on, or maybe you really have been busting your butt to
Mm,
just be working all the time, then some time for your mental health is important as well. But
certainly.
it's important to know your boundaries with procrastination and not necessarily doing the whole anxiety filled
Mm,
monologue with yourself for procrastinating. And so, for example, your health issue was a perfect example of that, where it's okay to let loose a little bit on that. But at
mm,
the same time, just because we normally like to upload on Wednesdays or we like to have at least one episode per
yeah.
week doesn't mean that we should allow it to be a case for every single week, right?
Yes. Agreed. Yeah. So now we learn, right? We have better
Yeah.
plan. How can we work on our episodes and how we're gonna find other solutions? But like I say, I did not only procrastinate our podcast, but I procrastinate the other thing because I having like severe migraine at that point. I know for those of you who are listening to us and then you have health issues, which sometimes can be a monthly thing, like ladies, you have menstrual. How do you call that? Men's
A
cycle?
menstrual cycle, a menstrual
Yeah.
cycle.
Yes. And some of us we have PMS and then we have like migraine, headache, cramps, and some are severe to the point that you cannot really leave the bed. So I think it's really important to take care of yourself because for the case that I know, um, people at the company, like some company, they might not understand that, right? Like why is it such an issue that you cannot come into work? But you know your body and don't push it because at the end of the day, you work for your growth and for financial stability, but don't trade that with your health because that's the most important and that's you're gonna have for the rest of your life. The other thing come and go, but this body, this mind will stay with you forever. So I would not say procrastinate, but I would say prioritize and organize it better, how
Yes.
it fits to your situations.
Yes, absolutely. It's a very real thing to let procrastination contribute to unproductive behavior. You can end up missing important deadlines. You can miss out
Mm,
on opportunities. It can affect your quality of work and your self esteem in return because you feel like you're just not doing enough. I know that
yeah,
I've been there before. I can resonate with that. But at the same time, I've also had periods of extreme productivity where I've worked my tail off for
yeah,
weeks or months at a time. And then I have a very large time period where I'm like, oh, I just need a little bit of time off. And
mm,
so I'll end up taking 2, 3, 4 weeks off. And it's not a great thing in terms of consistency for my
yeah,
work. So right now I'm trying to backlog how I'm going to address that because it's not something I really want to deal with, especially when you are a businesswoman or you're building your own ventures out. It's really difficult to maintain consistency when you know that there is going to be a time where you're going to need some time off.
mm-hmm,
So making sure that you're able to build something where you can take time off is important in entrepreneurship. And I know that. But at the same time, I have allowed myself to have the grace of saying, all right, I've accomplished so much in the last however long. I think I just need a little bit of time to myself to
mm,
do whatever it is, whether it's to be social, to go see friends, to
mm,
travel, whatever it may be. Not to say that you can't do both of those things at the same time. You can absolutely be social and do your work, but it is really what you said about prioritizing. As far as procrastination goes, I think it's really important also to understand what demotivates you, what's slowing you down or stopping you time and time again. So for me, like I said, it's a lot of the time burning out. I end up working so many long hours, I barely sleep, and it's not healthy, but I have such a good time doing it. I genuinely have a really, really, really good time just getting things done. And knowing that I have burnout periods because I've worked too long, I've tried to learn how to space it out better. So, those two things I think for me personally, I can share with our listeners, and hopefully you're able to take something away from this. But for me, I know it's the consistency. So, making sure I have a plan B for when I need to step away. And then, two, knowing my patterns. So, knowing that I burn out and I need time off. How am I going to address that so that way it doesn't happen again? Or if it happens again, it's in a manageable state. So I think a lot of the times when we're avoiding things, it's because they're unpleasant or you'd rather be doing something else or because there's some sort of fulfillment of a need that you haven't gotten to. And so as long as you're able to meet your needs and your wants, which if you haven't listened to one of our former episodes that talks about that, make sure you go and do that. But as long as you can address those things, I think you are in a better amplified state of managing your procrastination. What about you? What are your thoughts on that? What causes you to kind of slow down or stop time and time again?
mm-hmm. I have a similar situations like you, because when I dive into work, then I'll just go like all in. And then at one point I just have this burnout. But I'm not at the point that I conscious to know myself that I am having the burnout. The people around me would notice that there's some changes in my behaviors and the ways I express. Like I might oftentimes say that, hey, I'm a little bit tired. I don't want to meet people, isolating myself. And when they ask why, then I say, I don't know. I always ended up saying, I don't know. And then luckily I have many lovely friends that they know me so well sometimes that I forget this self. So they would be like, oh, the past months you have been working on multiple projects and you meet people every day. So that's drain your energies. And they ask if I have time to do my usual routines. And apparently, nope, I didn't. Because the first thing first, I pick up my phone, I check my email, I reply to my clients. Next, I went to another group to discuss with my team. And then from there, I was like, okay, time for breakfast. And this week, I skipped breakfast almost every day. I went for breakfast only twice. It's terrible. But because my mind constantly think that I have to finish it, I have to finish it. And then when it hit the certain point that my body and my mind couldn't take it anymore, that's when the procrastination come in. Yeah. Because I'm just so exhausted emotionally and physically exhausted. Yeah.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about, right? You convince yourself that you have to get certain things done by a certain deadline, or maybe that it's the only important thing that matters. And what really matters is that you're taking time for yourself as well. But we're not used to taking time to do nothing.
Mm.
Have you ever just sat down in your room and not done anything? You're not on your phone. You're not.
I tried, but no. Like today, I tried to sit still and I couldn't because I know that I have so many things that I have to finish and then I have to prepare different stuff. Why can we do that? Because, like you say, we never been trained to just sit and chill. I can only do that when I'm with my friends, but then there's always this interaction going on. You have some other topics to share. So it's not stillness. The only
It's not
stillness
stillness.
moment is through meditation, which I really have to get back to that because I know that lately it's affected my behaviors a lot. Um, it's really bad. But it's great that we are talking about it, because I'm reflecting so many things that happening this week, and I can really reprioritize my life again.
It's interesting that you're talking about procrastinating meditation. You're literally procrastinating being present.
Yes.
And I was just going to say procrastination can be reframed depending on what you're doing as a activity to practice being present. And when you
Mm,
are just sitting down, maybe try to start scheduling 10, 15 minutes to sit down and chill out. Just be present, preferably without a phone, where you're just sitting there, you're reflecting, you're just closing your eyes, trying to get in tune with yourself, thinking about things. And sometimes you'll be surprised at the things that pop into your head, what you'll think about when there's nothing to do. But at the same time, if you feel like being on social media is what's going to get you to chill out or relax, then do that. But at the same time, I will be very honest. I can see Queen shaking her head already. It's not a, first of all, activity to be present. Two, it's quite a black hole, I want to say.
yeah.
It's easy to get influenced by the things that you're looking at, but also start to question yourself sometimes. And I'm not saying this is the case for everyone, but sometimes you'll see things that affect your self esteem. Maybe you're looking at a guy who's more muscular than you and he's at the gym and you're thinking,
Mm.
oh my gosh, I haven't been to the gym in ages. So it's not really something that will contribute in a positive way always.
Mm.
Maybe you're reading something that you feel like resonates with you or what you're going through in life, then yeah, that's a positive thing for you. But it's kind of a hit or miss. And you run the gamble of it potentially taking away from the present state that you're in. So really like the idea
Mm.
of building in time for procrastination, understanding that it's normal if it ends up happening, but allowing yourself to manage it in a way where it's not contributing completely to unproductive behavior. You can actually use it to elevate your essence of productivity.
Mm. When you mention about the phone, I remember when I was in Mauritius, I work every day too. But when it come to meal time, we agree to not bring the phone to the dining. And I think that was the only time that we were able to have the present moment. Because when we were driving, touring, I always film for my contents. Because now I could say that I'm a full-time content creator. So I have my phone with me all the time. And there was one time we got into a big argument because my partner said to me something that I was pissed at myself, but not at him. I was so pissed at myself. He said that you are not enjoying the present moment. And I said, because I'm creating the content so people can watch my contents and enjoy what I'm doing and what we are doing. But then he said, but you are not really here because your head constantly thinking about what's the nice, angle, lightning, which animals to film, or even sometime when we try the Mauritius food and I wanted to capture that moment. And then my partner gonna be like, maybe you don't have to film everything. Yeah, so that's debating, for the partner who one person doing the content and the other working on the other stuff. But it's nice to see that because after the argument, the discussion, I learned that I need to find a way how to set up the schedule. And I also have to think ahead what is the story that I wanted to film. So then I would not lose all of my day, just try to film everything. And it's okay to miss out some cool content. Like we were watching whales with the sunset, and both of us, we didn't have the phone with us on the beach. So I was not able to share this moment with anyone, but at least I was there in the present moment, and it was amazing.
But you were able to share it with him, and I think that's the
Yeah.
most important thing because I actually, while I'm not, someone who spends a lot of time with a content creator, I have friends who are content creators,
Mhm.
for example, you, but you and I don't spend time in person because we're opposite
Yeah.
sides of the world. However, I've had friends who are full-time content creators, and I, as a friend, have had the same issue.
Mm,
Actually, while I fully support what they do, and I realize that that might sound counterintuitive because it sounds like I have an issue with it, I understand that it's your source of income and that
mhm,
there are people that log into social media to watch your stuff. But at the same time, it's very hard to be connected with someone who you want to spend time with in the present moment. Like, if I really want to just have a conversation with you, I want to enjoy our time together. It's hard to do that when one person is checked out doing their work, right?
mm,
And you're not able to fully make that connection. So I understand that whole conversation, but I absolutely agree with you. I think if you can space it out and time it out, then it works really
mm.
well because you're at a common understanding of what works and then what doesn't work. So if
Yes.
you are able to, for example, pre record things, if you record, let's say, a single day, you have a lot of cool moments, and then you just space them out over time, then that really works very well for
Mm,
the people that you are in person with. But again, it's all about finding the right balance, things that are okay with your partner, with your friends. That way, you can still live a very present life with the people you love, and they can still feel valued and cherished. But at the same time, you can build a really awesome career building content for a living.
the right balance. That's like the best sentence ever for everything.
Yes. Yes, finding the balance, whether it comes to food, whether it comes to procrastination, whether it comes to anything, really. That's
Mm.
that's what the goal should really be.
Well, so now we know that procrastination, it has two-sided or maybe even multiple-sided. So we would love to hear what our audiences think about it. If they also fell into this trap of procrastination, or you think it's because you are prioritizing what's really important to you, please do share with us.
So that was episode 12. Is procrastination truly bad? And we talked about a lot of things. Yes, it can contribute to unproductive behavior, but sometimes it can also be what helps you kind of enhance your quality of life. And so be sure to be present, to build in time to procrastinate. And to, when I say procrastinate, I do mean just to be present, to do something for yourself. And be mindful of how you're going to manage those fallouts you have when you procrastinate. Typically, there's a pattern, but there's also an underlying emotion. So you're doing something that you don't want to be doing, or maybe you would want to be doing something else. Figure out what that is, right? And once you figure that out, you'll have a much better grasp on procrastination and the activities that go into your daily life. That is it for this episode. I encourage you to join our Facebook group at Inspire Here. And that is a group that we want to stay active with you guys on. Let us know what you procrastinate for. I know Queen here kind of summed it up a little bit earlier and she said, "Do you procrastinate?" Well, I don't believe that. I know you procrastinate. So I want to know what you're procrastinating on and how you're procrastinating or what your next steps are to kind of manage that aspect of your life. We will catch you on the next episode of Inspire Here.